Hey there! Have you ever wondered why some women seem to stand out from the crowd, marching to the beat of their own drum and refusing to be swayed by societal pressures? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the fascinating world of Sigma females and explore why they're practically immune to brainwashing. Let's get started. Picture this: a room full of people, all nodding along to the same catchy tune. But wait, there's one person who's not bobbing their head. She's standing tall, eyes focused, and completely unfazed by the infectious rhythm around her. That, my friends, is a Sigma female in action. But what makes these women so resistant to manipulation? Why can't they be brainwashed like the rest? Stick around and we'll uncover the secrets behind their unwavering mindset. Alright, let's kick things off by breaking down what exactly a Sigma female is. You've probably heard of alpha females, right? Well, Sigma females are like their mysterious cousins. They're strong, independent women who don't fit into the typical social hierarchy. They're not trying to lead the pack like alphas, but they're definitely not following anyone else's rules either. Think of Sigma females as the lone wolves of the female world. They're confident, self-reliant, and march to the beat of their own drum. But here's the kicker: their unique traits make them incredibly resistant to brainwashing and manipulation. Let's dig into why that is. First up, we've got their fierce independence. Sigma females don't rely on others for validation or direction. They're perfectly content doing their own thing and making their own choices. This self-sufficiency acts like a shield against outside influences. When you're not constantly seeking approval from others, it's much harder for someone to manipulate you with promises of acceptance or threats of rejection. But it's not just about being independent. Sigma females have a rock-solid sense of self. They know who they are, what they stand for, and what they want out of life. This strong self-awareness is like a built-in BS detector. When someone tries to feed them ideas or beliefs that don't align with their core values, their internal alarm bells start ringing. They're quick to spot inconsistencies and aren't afraid to question things that don't add up. Now, let's talk about critical thinking. Sigma females are masters at this. They don't just accept information at face value. Instead, they analyze, question, and dig deeper. This habit of questioning everything makes it incredibly difficult for anyone to pull the wool over their eyes. They're always asking why and how, which means they're less likely to fall for manipulative tactics or false information. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sigma females aren't just resistant to brainwashing, they actively seek out knowledge and personal growth. They're lifelong learners, always hungry for new information and experiences. This constant quest for knowledge acts as a sort of mental armor. The more they learn, the more they understand about the world and human behavior, making it even harder for someone to manipulate them. Let's pause for a second and consider how this plays out in real life. Imagine a Sigma female in a workplace where there's pressure to conform to a certain company culture. While others might quickly adopt the expected behaviors and attitudes, our Sigma female is going to take a step back. She'll observe, analyze, and decide for herself whether these expectations align with her values and goals. If they don't, she won't hesitate to chart her own course, even if it means going against the grain. Now, you might be thinking, doesn't this make life harder for Sigma females? And you're not wrong. Swimming against the current can be exhausting. But here's the thing: Sigma females aren't doing it to be difficult or to prove a point. They're simply being true to themselves. And that authenticity is another key factor in their resistance to brainwashing. When you're comfortable in your own skin and confident in your choices, you're less likely to be swayed by peer pressure or societal expectations. Sigma females don't feel the need to fit in or please others at the expense of their own beliefs and values. This unwavering commitment to authenticity acts as a powerful defense against manipulation. But let's be clear, being a Sigma female isn't about being stubborn or closed-minded. In fact, it's quite the opposite. These women are often incredibly open to new ideas and perspectives. The difference is they process this information on their own terms. They're willing to change their minds, but only after careful consideration and analysis, not because someone else told them to. This brings us to another crucial trait of Sigma females: emotional intelligence. They're not just smart in the traditional sense, they're also highly attuned to their own emotions and the emotions of others. This emotional awareness helps them navigate complex social situations and spot manipulation attempts from a mile away. Think about it: how often have you seen people get swept up in a wave of emotion, whether it's fear, anger, or excitement? These strong emotions can cloud judgment and make people more susceptible to manipulation. But Sigma females, they're like emotional ninjas. They can recognize and manage their own emotions, which means they're less likely to make impulsive decisions or be swayed by emotional appeals. Now, let's talk about the power of solitude. Sigma females are comfortable being alone, and they often use this time for self-reflection and personal growth. This ability to be alone with their thoughts is a superpower when it comes to resisting brainwashing. It gives them space to process information, form their own opinions, and stay true to their values without constant external influence. But don't get it twisted, being a Sigma female doesn't mean being a loner or rejecting all social connections. These women can form deep, meaningful relationships. The difference is, they choose their connections carefully and don't depend on them for their sense of self-worth. This selective approach to relationships means they're less likely to be influenced by toxic people or fall into groupthink. Speaking of relationships, let's address the elephant in the room: romantic relationships. Sigma females approach love and partnership in their own unique way. They're not looking for someone to complete them or define their worth. Instead, they seek partners who respect their independence and support their personal growth. This mindset makes them less vulnerable to manipulative tactics in romantic relationships, like love bombing or gaslighting. Now, you might be wondering, are Sigma females born this way, or can these traits be developed? Great question. While some people might naturally lean towards Sigma tendencies, many of these characteristics can absolutely be cultivated over time. It's all about developing self-awareness, critical thinking skills, and the confidence to stay true to yourself. But here's the thing: becoming more Sigma isn't about changing who you are at your core. It's about embracing your authentic self and developing the strength to stand by your convictions. It's about learning to trust your own judgment and not being swayed by every passing trend or opinion. Let's take a moment to address some misconceptions about Sigma females. Some people might see them as cold or unapproachable, but that's not the case at all. Sigma females can be warm, caring, and deeply empathetic. They just express these qualities on their own terms, without compromising their values or independence. Another myth is that Sigma females are always in conflict with society. While it's true that they don't conform for the sake of conforming, they're not rebels without a cause. They're simply living life on their own terms, and they're perfectly capable of working within societal structures when it aligns with their goals and values. Now, let's talk about the impact of Sigma females on the world around them. These women often become catalysts for change, challenging outdated norms and pushing for progress. Their ability to think independently and question the status quo makes them natural innovators and problem solvers. In a world that's constantly evolving, Sigma females are often at the forefront of positive change. But it's not all smooth sailing. Being a Sigma female in a world that often values conformity can be challenging. These women may face criticism or misunderstanding from others who don't get their approach to life. They might be labeled as difficult or antisocial when they're simply being true to themselves. But here's the kicker: Sigma females are equipped to handle these challenges. Their strong sense of self and resilience help them weather criticism and stay focused on their own path. Let's circle back to our main point: why Sigma females can't be brainwashed. It's not just one thing, it's a combination of all these traits we've discussed. Their independence, critical thinking skills, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and comfort with solitude all work together to create a mental fortress that's incredibly difficult to penetrate. But here's something important to remember: being resistant to brainwashing doesn't mean being closed off to new ideas. Sigma females are often incredibly open-minded and willing to consider different perspectives. The difference is, they do so on their own terms, carefully evaluating new information rather than blindly accepting it. This ability to think critically and independently is more important than ever in today's world. We're bombarded with information from all angles: social media, news outlets, advertisements, and it can be overwhelming. Sigma females show us that it's possible to navigate this information overload without losing sight of who we are and what we believe in. So what can we learn from Sigma females? Well, for starters, we can all benefit from developing some of these traits. Learning to think critically, trust our own judgment, and stay true to our values are skills that can serve anyone well, regardless of gender or personality type. We can also learn to appreciate and respect different approaches to life. Sigma females remind us that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to success or happiness. Sometimes, the people who don't quite fit the mold are the ones who end up making the biggest impact. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. In a world that often tries to put people in boxes and tell them how to think and behave, Sigma females stand as a testament to the power of individuality. They show us that it's possible to forge our own path, resist manipulation, and still lead fulfilling, successful lives. Conclusion. So there you have it, folks, the lowdown on why Sigma females can't be brainwashed. From their fierce independence and critical thinking skills to their emotional intelligence and comfort with solitude, these women have a unique set of traits that make them incredibly resistant to manipulation. But remember, this isn't about putting Sigma females on a pedestal or saying they're better than anyone else. It's about recognizing and appreciating different ways of navigating the world. Whether you identify as a Sigma female or not, we can all learn something from this approach to life. The key takeaway: trust yourself. Question things. Don't be afraid to go against the grain if it means staying true to who you are. In a world that's constantly trying to tell us who to be and what to think, there's real power in being unapologetically yourself. So here's to the Sigma females out there, and to anyone who's ever felt like they don't quite fit the mold. Keep marching to the beat of your own drum. The world needs your unique perspective and unwavering spirit. And who knows? You might just inspire others to break free from the herd and think for themselves too. Remember, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to be true to yourself. Whether you're a Sigma, an Alpha, or anything in between, embrace who you are and don't let anyone else define your worth or dictate your path. Stay curious, stay questioning, and above all, stay you.